Hello, my name's David Howells. Today we're going to have a look at different ways to focus your Canon 600D. I'm filming outside now in Cork City by the quayside, and I've set a very wide aperture on the lens to try and give a very narrow field of focus, depth of field here, just for myself, with hopefully the area behind me out of focus. That's one of the nice things about using the focus on the focusing elements on these DSLRs. So we'll have a look now how we can change the focus using both the manual focusing, the custom or the automatic focusing, and also the focusing that comes with some free software you can download called Magic Lantern. Okay, so let's have a look at different focus options. So the first one is manual focus, and to do that I have to click the switch on the lens to manual focus, and if you turn the lens in you can see it goes in and out of focus. Now let's say I want to focus on the menu in the background there. Well, I can focus the best as I can, which I hope is right, but obviously it's very small to actually ensure it's the correct focus. So what I can do here is, if I click the AF button, let's come out of record for a moment. So if I press the AF button there, you see the focus square in the center comes up, and if I move the arrows up and over the menu there, and then on the top right there's a zoom button here. If I press that, you can see I can zoom 5 times and then 10 times, and then with that I can try and focus the menu more accurately. So let's say I'm happy with that focus there on that. Press the zoom button to come out of that again, and now I can start recording there. That. Similarly, if I want to say zoom in here on the foreground on the coffee cup here, I can again, if I press the arrow button, do you see the square is still around the menu? I can press set to bring that back to the big middle, and then if I move the square again and move it down to the coffee cup there, and if I then zoom in, see it's way out of focus, so I'm going to turn the ring there to focus it, and that focuses on the coffee cup there, and I can then record on that. And that's basically manual focus. There is a utility which is quite useful, which you can download, called Magic Lantern. It's some software, and I've installed that on this. It's free, and I've installed it on this camera here. And this does help you do some useful things. One of them is to set what's called a focus peak. There you can see. Now if I just click on that and click on what's called global draw, that just enables you to see all the Magic Lantern settings on the screen. Click on that. Click on the trash button to actually hide the menu there. You can see, if you look closely, you can see around the coffee cup there is in fact lots of little red and some blue dots. That indicates that's now in focus. If I turn the focus ring on the lens, you can see to the back there, to the background, that now can appear. You can see all the little dots there. That shows what's actually in focus there. Further back I go, it all goes out of focus. Focus quite accurate with that, and come back again to the coffee cup and the table in the foreground. So by using that, if I go back to the wall at the back there, see where all the dots appear on the menu again, and if I just test that, if that actually works, just move my focus square over the menu and zoom in on that. See, that's pretty accurate at focusing. It helps anyway. You can't see the dots in the zoom mode, but they're quite a good visual way of seeing whether or not you focused. And this method of focusing manually, you often see that on camcorders and also professional video recorders too, to achieve the focus on a certain area. So that's manual focusing. Let's come out of, I'll just switch Magic Lantern off. We'll have a look now at doing automatic focusing, autofocusing. So I'm going to switch on the camera the automatic focus option on the button there on the lens, and if you click on the quick menu button, you can see at the top there it has AF quick. If I click on that, you see you've got AF quick, AF, that's AF autofocus, that's on a face, that helps you focus on faces. We'll have a look at that shortly as well. And AF live, by default it's in AF live, and for filming you'll see how that operates now. So I've set that for AF live. And how does that work? Well, again, if you want to, let's say, set the focus here, that's for example on the menu at the back. If I move the focus square again using the arrow keys over the menu, and if I hold down the shutter button halfway, you can see there it has focus. A green square appears around the menu. It's managed to focus on that, and I'm now recording. So you can actually do this while you're actually recording if you wish, or before. I'll try and focus now on the foreground. If I go to the foreground here, over the coffee cup, and I press the focus button there, it now appears over the coffee cup, and that now area is now focused. So it's quite handy, and you can move it around. Obviously it's not recommended to be zooming in and out during the filming, and you've just got to watch. Sometimes the live focus like this has a problem if it's dark or the areas that you're trying to focus on are not very clear. It's going to try and zoom in and out continuously. So sometimes it's not ideal. Again, we'll just have a quick look at that again. If I press down the shutter button halfway, zooms in and a green dot appears, and you should see there it's focused around the menu there in the background. So that's autofocus. We come out of the filming for a minute because you can't change the focus, what's your type of focus when you're in the filming. That's AF live, autofocus live. If I click on the options there again, we'll have a now look at autofocus quick. So autofocus quick, what does that do? Well, it's set for that now. Now you just need to watch something on this because you can see there, you might just be able to see, it's quite tricky on this one, that there are these kind of focus points, the central focus points and several focus points around the centre. These are the normal ones you get when you're doing AF quick in photography mode as well. And what that does, if you get them back again, press the Q button. Now, how does that operate? Well, start at the beginning. If you just press the shutter button now, you'll see what happens. What in fact happens is it takes a shot, the mirror goes up, and it comes out of live move for about a second or so as it affects a live, or not a live, a quick focus. That's the traditional one in photography that you'd use. Now, if you do it again, you'll see that a green button or a green square appears at the centre, and that's the point it has by default focused on there, which actually was where that green bush is there in the middle. I zoom in there, it's actually focused there on the bush in the centre, or just on the area of the metal box where the bush is in. Now, one thing to note here is if you try and change the focus now, if I try and use the square to change the focus, let's say to the foreground, using this AF quick, and try and do the same thing I did before, if I press down the shutter now, you'll see the green square in the centre stays in the centre, and it doesn't actually focus on the foreground on the coffee cup. So well, there's two things you can do here. One thing is you've got to note that focus square doesn't work with the quick focus, autofocus quick focus. So you can either move the camera physically, so I can move this now down and focus the centre spot on that, and then you see it takes a shot there, and then I can move it back to recompose the shot. Press the focus button now, and press the record button now, and you see we're recording now the scene with the coffee cup. That's a bit cumbersome because it involves you coming out of the shot setup you've already got. So another way to do it is to use the little focus squares around the centre square, and if I press Q button again, you can see they appear again, small grey squares all the way around, these focus points around the centre square. So we can try and use some of those now to focus. And what you can do here now, the first thing you might try and do is start. This is why it's a bit tricky. It's just use the dial here to try and dial the different focus points. But all that seems to do, if you see the top left there, it changes the setting for the autofocus, which is not what we want at all. We want to leave it on auto quick. The next thing people then try to do is probably try set, but all that does, if you click set, it brings you back into the quick mode menu again. So at that stage people just wonder you can't use those squares at all. But you can actually, and what you can do is if you have to bring that the blue select area down or up away from the quick menu at the side. So if I go all the way up, for example, it then makes the square in the centre blue, which indicates that the focus points are now selected. And once you've selected the focus points, you can then use the dial then. If I go back into quick menu again, you can use the dial then, you can see, to go round the different focus points. So you can choose the focus point you want. So for example, if I want to focus now on the top there, near where the menu is, for example, I selected that. And if I hold down the shutter now, you might have seen there, I'll do it again, the green dot appears exactly where the focus point was on the wall. And if I record that now, it should be in focus. I'll come out of recording. Now, again, get the quick menu back again, it brings you back to the focus points there. And again, if I want to focus this time, let's say, on the chair, back of the chair there's a focus point. It's not very, I said it's limited in the area you can actually choose. But if I want to focus on that blue area there, on the metal box there in the foreground, press that, you see it focuses on that. And if you press record now, you can see there it takes a while to come out of that, so it's why it's not really 100% ideal. You're now focused on the area in the front, on the box there, box area behind the table and in the mid foreground. So that's the auto focus quick mode. If you press on the Q button again, now just note, if you from the center point, if you go the other way backwards on the dial and select all the points, it's going to try and do an automatic selection, and you don't really want that because you don't know where that's going to focus at all. So if you just leave it like that, it could be anywhere. It's chosen there, the box in the foreground there, for example, but it could be, if I move it around, it could be it's chosen 2 points there, a bollard and some of the ground area there. So to be quite honest, you need to make sure if you're using that, you do select a point, and up to you what you select. It's a bit limited, as I said, because the actual area, it comes out of the live mode, which is a bit disconcerting when you're filming, and B, the points themselves, they don't give you a very wide area to actually select, so it's not actually going to be particularly ideal. So that's filming with the focus set to AF Quick. If we look now at the autofocus menu, go up, in AF Quick at the moment, we click it to the face mode and select that. You can see there it moves around, and you can set the focus then by holding down the shutter button. So that's autofocus on the face mode. Thanks very much for watching.